Today, every day, small cap investors visit Agoracom knowing this is the day to discover the world's next great company, to have their dreams come true. That's why I take to the open road, to find them, to tell their stories, to engage them, to bring them to life, because they want to connect with you from your office, your phone, your home, anywhere. Agoracom, find your dream.
Welcome to Beyond the Press Release, a production of Agoracom in which we take the time to speak with small cap executives right after recent important news. With us today, heck, it's the third time in December because they're putting out just that much great news, is Sean Dollinger. He's co-founder, president, CEO of Namaste Technologies. The company trades on the CSE under the stock symbol N for Namaste. In the US for our friends NXTTF, and for our friends in Germany on Frankfurt under M5BQ. Most of you by now don't need introduction about what Namaste does. In essence, they're just taking over the entire space when it comes to medical cannabis delivery systems, e-commerce stores in 26 countries, record-setting revenues, partnerships with Afria, Aurora, you name it, Sean's done it. Today's press release, though, is, I'm going to read the headline, Namaste signs fulfillment agreement with Greenlane. Sean, welcome to the show.
Thanks, George. Thanks for fitting us in. I know this was last minute, right before Christmas. I called you from the Borough Market. I was out there and I'm like, you know what? This news just came out. I just ran in. Thanks again for fitting me in before you run out today. And, obviously I've got a couple of meetings, so thanks again.
Thanks is all ours, Sean. And by the way, it wouldn't be a Christmas if we didn't have a Namaste interview with you and or your team from the UK. Last year we had you and your marketing and social media guys from Ireland. Today it's you from London. So the thanks is to you actually on behalf of all shareholders because you've taken the time to speak with everybody right before Christmas. So let's get straight to it because you're on a time clock here. Your quote, that's what I want to start off with, says, the signing of this agreement may very well be one of the most important initiatives Namaste has implemented to date. Given all the big news you put out in 2017, and on its headline almost seems maybe a little innocuous, why is this the biggest headline of the year?
Yeah, so, I'm glad the markets realized that important statement, and I'm glad that you bring that point up from the press release. One thing in e-commerce and .com, the hardest thing is keeping up. We could look at Amazon, biggest player in the world, before they added their whole cloud computer services and all their technology, just like we're a technology company, where we're making use of our systems rather than brick and mortar. There's serious challenges in having physical stock keep taking up more and more room in warehouses. I think I brought this up on one of your shows where we've already moved 4 times in a little over a year and a half. Your staff increases, their salaries increase, insurance, workers' comp. It's a vicious cycle. Our margins, we don't sell products for $2,000, $3,000 a piece. We sell items for $100, making a 50% gross margin. The more we could go about bringing our costs down, we become profitable. And what I think is the most unbelievable part about it, George, is by using our technology and using an amazing partner like Greenlane that's been with us for now 2.5 years, 3 years. Normally, people need to sacrifice, or companies normally need to sacrifice their growth in order to become profitable. I believe, due to the strategic move we made, and we could discuss a couple more amazing points about it, but if we just look at it on a macro level, we'll be able to put more energy and more focus into growing sales, even though we've grown a couple 100% year over year, if not more, and actually become profitable.
And this is the paradox of all fast-growing companies. If you're not a fast-growing company, guys, this isn't a problem for most companies. You've got 1 or 2 factories, 1 or 2 warehouses, you incrementally add things. But when you're skyrocketing the way Namaste is, not just in total sales, but different kind of products, all these partnerships, that becomes a real challenge. This is a smart move. How big is the network that around the world that they'll be able to handle your growth for what, the next couple of years? Will Greenlane be able to grow with you indefinitely, or how big is their network right now?
Absolutely. So they're looking to expand their warehouse operations to BC. That will now give us the East Coast and West Coast being able to do it logistically for much cheaper if people want next day service. Normally from Toronto, for example, to get it to BC, you got to use FedEx. Obviously, Canada Post is much cheaper than FedEx. So by having a hub out on the West, we'll be able to get it to Calgary, Edmonton, Vancouver, all these places much quicker and for much cheaper. That's the benefits that come. And for example, Greenlane, they were just with me in London. They love the warehouse operation over here. There might be possible synergies, George. Obviously, we can't talk for them but the whole idea here is we start here and see how it goes. And they have the most trusted reputation from a distribution level. And due to our partnership, there's going to be some really interesting synergies. For example, when they get pre-filled cartridge machines, that's the direction the hardware market's going into. If you think about it, CanMart, that fits beautifully into the model. Take X vaporizer, fill it with this strain of marijuana or cannabis from this LP. It doesn't even need to be a specific LP. Well, if the hardware company went to one of the major LPs, right? They're only filling it with one thing in there. With us, how cool is that we're going to be able to do all these,
it's wide open. It's wide open. You got no limitations at that point.
Absolutely none. So those are the synergies we see that we could actually focus on, remain focused on what we're amazing at, which is integration, technology. And yes, this is a partner. As you know, George, we announced a deal with BC Northern Lights not too long ago, a subsidiary of Aurora. The technology we've now developed to integrate on Greenlane's back-end system with the whole integration, and this took well over a couple of months to develop. It's very, very complex because you need to now pull inventory from a brand new system. It needs smart shipping methods put in. That's why I'm saying what we've developed here is just unbelievable. But now we could use this piece of technology with companies like BC Northern Lights instantly, that we could then use their whole warehouse facility where they have very large products and that take up a lot of room in a warehouse, and they'll then be able to drop ship all around the world from there.
And that's why they're loving you as a partner now, because you're not just saying, hey, take care of our mess. You're actually making them better. You're actually making them more efficient, right?
We can make everybody more efficient because all of a sudden they could benefit from the platform we're building. Right. They know their products. We could give them login to our site. They could set up their products perfect, like their pictures. They can make that product absolutely beautiful, use the language they want to use. And then what we use is our whole platform, how Google looks at it, how all the search engines look at it, and bring their products in front of people's eyes. Or when people look for a vaporizer, oh, wow, I never even thought there's growing equipment. Or, oh, wow, a rosin press? What's a rosin press? You mean I can make my own oil in the house? Because our industry is so new, and there's going to be constantly new products over the next many years, traffic coming to Namaste could then be utilized to bring in other avenues, other lines of products. As you could tell, I'm really, really excited.
I'll tell you right now, my head is expanding, and I'm trying to hold it in with everything you're telling me because, yeah, it's unbelievable. And I think that's the key, which is this is still a very, very nascent market. It's early in the system, and you're providing to your own company and now to your partners like Greenlane that flexibility to be able to do whatever comes at this industry in terms of products and services and new innovation. And I think that's huge because everyone's going to be looking at Namaste now and saying, look, they can help us on the e-commerce side. They can help us on the distribution side. And there are no limitations you're not stagnant. I think that's powerful. I think it's genius. Let me ask you about your quote. One of the points here I'm going to read is expected to have immediate impact on cash flow. Now, we're not talking about just the new things and synergies, but how big of an impact does this have on your cash flow in 2018, being able to hand this off to Greenlane?
Massive. So right away, it frees up $1 million plus that we had in inventory alone. So right there, that's a massive thing. Number two, there's no longer making wrong decisions on purchase orders, for example. Like if we think a product's hot, right? Sometimes manufacturers require you to get 10 pink ones, 10 red ones, 10 blue ones, 10 black ones. But the black ones are what sell. So what are we supposed to do with these 30 other products that are such slow movers? By having that as our back end, we no longer need to struggle with difficulties like that. As well, the warehouses that we had before, those warehouses cost us a few $100,000 just for the actual warehouse and a couple employees that we had in there. We no longer need these physical spaces. And if you think about it, George, instantly we could use this platform. We could go from 3,000 SKUs or 4,000 SKUs like we had, which was costing us a fortune to warehouse, millions of dollars in inventory, right? To literally having infinity amount of products on a platform that will have absolutely no overhead or costs associated to it any longer, other than the physical lost value of the physical cost of the goods.
So you've got cash flow tied up, and now is it safe to say, Sean, that you and your team also have, mind share freed up as well? You freed up cash flow, you're freeing up mind share, because no matter what, somebody at Namaste or a group of you had to be responsible for the warehousing and all the various things you've solved now. Absolutely. What is going to be your focus? What is that, when you think about that relief it takes off of you, what do you start focusing on even more now as we head into 2018?
As we've said, that team in Ireland that we had on, last year, that has grown now into a 30-person plus team over there. Josh still leading the SEO, David still leading the marketing side of things, Luke doing the email campaigns. That team is so excited for what the future holds. I think I've said it on one of your shows as well, George, and I've definitely went on the record saying this. Over the next 5 years, there is no reason that we cannot double year over year over year. So if we're doing 24 million this year as a run rate right now, next year 48, the next year 100, the next year 200, the next year 400, and that, George, doesn't even include cannabis. It doesn't even include cannabis. So when you say, where's our focus going? So we have our team for that. Call it February 1st. When CanMart gets its license, we now have to put all of our energy and focus into how does that work? How do we make that recurring revenue every single week come in the door, give customers the best experience possible, mail order, getting a vaporizer? That's going to take a ton of work. So by freeing up our time on exactly what you just pointed out, those numbers, George, could far surpass anything that we've ever imagined before.
Anything you do it up until right now. And Sean, you know what? I think we'll leave it there. For everyone at home, Sean's given you a perfectly timed Christmas present / holiday present. Unbelievable, Sean. Thanks so much for joining us from London. The fact, again, I'm going to tell this everyone at home. You've always taken the time. Look, you're in London. You're in between meetings. You're at a meeting when you called me. You're on your way to a meeting. You've run back to your hotel, which is why you're still wearing your hat and your tooth.
I don't want everyone to see my hair. I get like, oh, Sean, your hair looked good today. It's in a ponytail, this, that. It would have been a disaster if this hat came off. So I didn't even have time to get ready.
It just goes to show that you weren't worried about all of that. And trust me, a lot of people would be. You weren't worried. You ran to the hotel. You called me and said, George, I've got to get on video and explain this to everybody.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for doing this. On behalf of everyone on Agoracom and all your shareholders that are watching this, I think I speak on behalf of everyone when I say thank you for a fantastic year. Thank you for this Christmas present arriving just on time, and we look forward to what you're going to do in 2018 with your mind free, with your cash flow free. The sky's the limit. Well done, buddy.
Thanks, George. Just before you go, I'm glad you bring that up, because one thing about Namaste, we've never had cash flow. We've never really had money sitting in the bank, like tons of money. Whenever we've got money in, we've always had to go ahead and we've had to go and use it to make an acquisition, etc. So this is the first time where we feel that we're absolutely in the driver's seat, totally focused on growth and profitability. And, number one, thank you very much for letting me come on and explain it in detail, because, again, I hope that over this 15 minutes that people understand why we're so excited.
That's clear.
Number two, I want to wish all your viewers, all our shareholders, yourself, a very happy holiday and a happy new year. And we're really looking forward to 2018. Every email I get from my staff and my team, they are just so pumped up for what 2018 holds. So again,
thank you, Sean. Thank you very much. Thank you to your team too, because you're the first guy to say it. It's not just, this isn't the Sean Dollinger show. You've got an incredible team from Corey on down. So thank you for those kind words, and we'll see you in the new year.
Hey, thanks, George. Take care.